Hey there, this is Mark. And since we've got a couple of quick seconds here together, I want to do two things. First, I want to make a bit of a confession. And second of all, I want to tell you a story. And I really wish that you will stick around for the punchline of that story because it's pretty profound. And I'm pretty sure it will make a pretty huge difference in your life. And it will flip a switch in your head that I wish had been flipped in my head when I was a very, very young man. Okay, first, the confession. I am not a fitness guru. A lot of people, for whatever reason these days, they think I'm a fitness guru, probably because I've been getting in such crazy good shape. You know, a lot of videos out there, me flipping around in gymnastic rings, doing handstands and stuff. I'm in very good shape these days, especially for a man of my age. But this was not always so. When I was a very young man, in fact, I had such a terrible time with fitness. I was known for being uncoordinated, for being unfit. And the worst of it was that I had this really terrible posture. It was so bad that people could see me walking from a long distance without even seeing my face. And they would joke and they would go, hey, you can tell that's Joyner because of that bad posture, right? That's how bad it was. It was so bad. There was a party I went to. And this is when I was a teenager. And this older man who was a much fitter, much more together man than I was at such a young age, he came up and he put his hands on me and he tried to correct my posture. And he said, Mark, he says, man, you got to stand up straight. He says, you're a young man now. You can fix this now. And it will have some positive effect on your life later on. It's going to be hard to fix when you get older, you know. And so as a teenager, what did I do? You know, of course, my reaction was to take offense. You know, my poor little ego was bruised. How dare you tell me to do something that's so obviously good for me, right? But I didn't take action on it. It took years before I would actually take action on my posture. And what it actually took was getting to a point where I was in so much pain from my posture being bad that I had to go through some pretty tough stuff to correct it. And it has been a pretty difficult path, but I am so glad I took it. You know, there's this old saying, they say that the best time to start something is 20 years ago, right? And the second best time is right now, because the longer you wait to fix something, the harder and harder it gets. So it got me thinking, you know, what if that guy had been a better communicator? You know, this is a little similar to some of the stories we run in our heads all the time, right? I'm sure once a week, almost all of us go through this fantasy. We go, man, if I had done this when I was younger, if I had only known when I was younger what I know now, my life would be so different. So here I am many years later, and I find myself in a similar situation that man was in. I wonder, do I have the communication skills required to get my point across? Because I got a pretty important point to get across to you. And I can't reach through the screen and grab you and shake you and force you to figure out how important this is. So I got to use some hook and some crook here to get you to take some action on it, because I know that it's going to have that big of an impact. And what I'm talking about here is what we call at Simpleology Elite. Now look, this is where you're going to expect me to start pitching you on it and selling you on it and telling you how great it is, even though I could do that for hours without any rehearsal, because I know this stuff inside and out so much. But I don't want you to take my word for it. What I want you to do is I want you to scroll below this video, and I want you to see the videos and testimonials and case studies of the person after person after person from every possible walk of life who has benefited from using Simpleology Elite. Okay, that's the first thing that I want you to do. Now, you got to remember, these are people from all walks of life. These are people from the U.S. government. Fortune 500s. We're talking, small business owners, mom and pop size, work at home moms. We're talking Fortune 500 CEOs. We've got graduate students, doctors, lawyers, people from basically every walk of life. There are even classrooms that are using Simpleology now because they know what a huge difference it's making in the lives of their students. Okay, and something else that I've done here is I'm going to bribe you to just try Simpleology Elite. I don't want you to pay any money today. I want you to start a free trial of Simpleology Elite that you can cancel anytime. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some gifts just for trying. And if you cancel, you get to keep those gifts. Now, I know there are probably some people in there watching this right now, probably not you, but there's people thinking, hey, you know what? I can start this free trial and just cancel and get all this free stuff because, man, that free stuff looks pretty darn good. And you know what? That's fine. It's okay. I don't care because I know that for every one of those guys, there's 10 or 20 other guys who are going to start it in earnest, actually use it. They're going to see the benefit and they're going to become our customer. Why are they going to become our customer? Because they would not want to go back to not using this stuff. It's like me. Would I want to go back to having this terrible posture? I mean, think about that, going through life like this. Why would I go through life like this when I could go through life like this? I mean, literally every waking moment of my life is affected by the fact that I made this change to myself. And this is the kind of thing that I want to put you through. So I'm doing my best to one-up what I wish that man had done when I was a younger man. He had great intentions. He just didn't have the right skills. Okay, so I have talked to people around the world to ask them, hey, what can I do to make it so that I can get across to people how important it is that they try this and make it so easy that it's almost impossible for them to say no. So I want you to scroll below this video, see what we got going on there, and give it a shot. And here's the thing. I want you to know this, okay? We have 24/7 customer care staff standing by at all times. And one thing that I impress on them over and over and over again is this. If somebody asks for a refund, do it promptly, courteously, and do it on the spot. No questions asked. Why? Because I want to have a relationship with you. Maybe this isn't going to work out. I'm pretty sure it will. If you actually use the software, it will work out. But hey, I can't predict everything. Right? So I want to make sure that everything is cool between us. I don't want you to start this and then regret it later on. I want you to remember, hey, I tried it, and you know what? Those guys were so cool. They canceled it, no problem. And, that's just the way we do business around here. I think that's the way businesses need to operate if you want to have a positive impact on the world. Okay, and there's one last thing I want to tell you. There's only two things you're ever going to have to remember about Simpleology Elite. Now, there's all kinds of cool stuff inside Simpleology Elite. This software is extremely powerful, extremely robust. It's going to do things for you personally. If you work with teams, it can even help what you're doing with your teams. Anyway, you'll get into that later. And it will be very easy for me to overwhelm you, and you might be overwhelmed with a lot of the information that you see below this video, but that's fine because there's only two things, right? And that's number one, you log into your Simpleology account once a day on your work days. You don't have to do this on your days off unless you really want to. And then two, there's a big fat button in the upper right-hand corner that says do today's training. That's it. You log in and you click do today's training and we do the rest. We're going to turn this into habits for you that are going to be impossible to give up. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to make you a really bold promise here. Okay, I can promise you that within the first 48 hours of you using Simpleology Elite, you will double your productivity and you will double your free time. Now, that sounds like a ridiculous claim, really, but I know I can make it because that is the standard feedback we get from people. When people go in and actually click the Do Today's Training button and follow our instructions, and by the way, the training only takes a few minutes. It's so easy, so easy. That's the whole point of this is to make your life simpler and easier, right? This is what people come back to me and they say, wow, I did not think that it would have such a profound impact, but it did. Okay, but don't take my word for it. scroll below the video, see what other folks just like you and me have to say about it. And then I hope that this is the beginning of a much longer relationship together, because Simpleology just keeps getting better and better and better.